Hello, Tom here. Welcome back. In this video, I want to show you how I fix the ignition on my Oleomac chainsaw. So this is my Oleomac GST 250 chainsaw. I have it for about 3 years, and the only problem I had with this chainsaw was that ignition coil failed. I was going to cut some wood and I put a fresh fuel in it, and I pulled the cord probably 20-30 times and I could not start it. So I thought I'll check the spark plug. Checking spark plug on these things is a bit awkward because the spark plug is hiding right here behind the muffler. You probably, I don't know if you can see it there, but it's so you have to take the whole cover, this cover off, and then it is hiding. You see that little spark plug boot right behind the muffler. So I got the spark plug out and I've tried to see if I get a spark, and I could not get spark at all. I could get no spark whatsoever. So I thought it might be a faulty spark plug, and I've tried another spark plug and I could not get any spark. Then I've tried a spark plug out of this chainsaw on another machine, and the spark plug was actually good. And then I thought it would probably be the ignition coil. Ignition coil is hiding right behind this cover here. So I'll show you. I'll just get the cover off. I'll show you where the ignition coil is. And so I've got the ignition. I've got the ignition cover off, and I couldn't really see much wrong with it. It's just an ordinary ignition coil. So that is the original coil, and I've called up the service place, and I've got a quote for $150 and about 2 weeks to get a replacement part. And also the guy said that they have to install it so they can guarantee the part. I thought, well, $150, 2 weeks. I'll actually pay $260 for this chainsaw about 3 years ago. So I thought, well, okay, I've looked up, see what I can find on the internet, and I could not get a replacement part. I could not get the ignition coil with, I think, I don't know if you can see it, there is a part number, and I could not get anything with this part number on the internet. I found one, I think it was on eBay, that was similar part number, and it was also about $90 plus shipping. And I thought, well, okay, it's still about half of the price of the new chainsaw of what I paid a couple of 3 years ago. So I thought I'll just look for whatever similar and see if I can make it work. And I found this. That's the replacement coil. It is a coil that is used on I think it's a Husqvarna brush cutter, Husqvarna 124, 125, 128, something. I've got this from a place on the internet, and the good thing about this place is that they give you some dimensions. So there was a dimension between these two holes, which was only a few millimeters different to the original one. And I thought, well, okay, I'll just order it and then see if I can make it work. And when I've got this coil, I've measured it all up, and I actually had to make a little adapter You probably can see it. It's a little aluminium thing. I had to drill a couple of holes on my milling machine. One hole to bolt it on the cylinder, and the other hole to use the other hole to bolt the ignition coil, so it sits where the old one was. And I was hoping to get the right timing. So I made this little adapter. Other than that, I only had to extend kill switch cable, just a little piece of cable, and that was it. So I've installed it. I'll just put a couple of bolts, set the nice gap between the coil and the flywheel, and I thought I'll give it a go, see if I get a spark and see if I can start it. So I put a fresh fuel in it, put the cover on and all that, turn the ignition on, choke on, and it did not start. And then I've checked the spark, and I had a very good spark. Bright spark. So I thought, well, nothing else but the timing is off, and I had to change the timing. To do that, I was hoping to just to take the flywheel off, take the nut, loosen the nut, take the nut off, get the flywheel off, and they usually have a little half moon key. So if you take that off, you can probably, most of the time, you can just put the flywheel onto the taper, and if you tighten it hard enough, it's not gonna turn, it's not gonna slip or anything, it's just gonna sit where you set it. The problem was with this flywheel, the flywheel actually does have a cast on key. So what I did was I just got the file and I just filed the cast on. It's only aluminium, so I just filed the cast on key off. And then I got a little bit of grinding paste to put on the taper on the crankshaft and grind that taper inside the flywheel so it sits nice and tight on the crankshaft. After that, I've got to set the timing. The way I did it was with these things, the ignition fires when these, as you probably can see here, you've got two magnets here. Yes, one magnet. You got another one. So to set the way that this thing fires is that it fires not when the first magnet approaches this core, not when the second magnet approaches this core, but when the second magnet, you can see when the second magnet, which is roughly where the fin is, leaves the core. That's when it fires. So it fires roughly here. I've made a mark when I was setting the ignition. Then okay, the next thing you have to do is to line up the crankshaft. So basically the piston is at the top dead center. I don't know if you can see, there's like a little mark, and that mark, when I line it up with the center of the cylinder, then when I line up the mark with the center of the cylinder, the piston is at top dead center. So then I had the flywheel off, I lined up the mark so the piston is at top dead center, and then I've put the flywheel on so when the piston is at the top dead center, the second magnet leaves this iron core. And then I just put the washer, tighten it as hard as I could so it's not gonna turn, and I've put the cover back on, and I've tried to start it up. I did start it, but I was not happy the way it was running. It was not idling well, and it was dying. So basically, if you say you want to adjust the timing, you want to advance it a little bit or retard it a little bit, you basically just with this, if you don't have the key, you just take it off, you turn it slightly, and then try another position until you get to the point where you're quite happy with it. And when the engine is running fine, it idles, it throttles up, and so on and so on. And then basically you just make sure that the knot is tight enough, and the flywheel is not going to turn. So then I've put the cover on and put the petrol in it, and it did start. I had to adjust it a little bit, adjust the throttle, adjust the low screw, high screw, and since then it is running fine. Since then I had no problems with it. Basically, I've paid $15 for this ignition coil instead of $150, and it works fine. It is slightly bigger. It is slightly bigger, but it fits okay. I did not have to modify anything inside here. As you can see, it's all like, untouched. So basically just put the cover back on, and the machine runs fine, and I had no problem with it since I've replaced the coil. So if you do have a problem with these machines and you don't know where to find a replacement part, so go for ignition coil from chainsaw, or not chainsaw, but brush cutter, Husqvarna brush cutter 124, 125, 128, something something, and a little adapter. It's just a little piece of aluminium. You can do it yourself. All you need is just a hand drill and a tap to cut a little thread, and that's it. You don't have to spend $150 on the replacement coil and wait for it for 2-3 weeks. And just one little thing I've noticed. I had this chainsaw for about 3 years, and I just noticed it now that it is a designer chainsaw, and it's designed by Giugiaro. I believe they do design or cars and motorcycles, I think. I didn't know that they actually do chainsaws as well, and I don't know what else, whatever else. So I did not know that I do have a designer chainsaw. Thank you for watching. Please write comments and subscribe if you wish, and I'll see you in the next video.